Hi everybody, this is Alana from United Facade. I work at United Facade as a business development specialist. We decided to make these podcasts with my coworker Richard. So everybody is welcome to United Glazing Show. What we want to do is talk about facade systems and learn about facade systems. In each episode, we're going to learn a lot of things. We're going to ask questions, we're going to talk, and we're going to discuss. Also, we're going to have different guests in our podcast from time to time. From now on, sit back and enjoy watching our videos. Thank you. Hello, Rich. How are you today?
Very good, thank you. Alana, how are you today?
Fine, thanks. And you? I know who you are, but the other people doesn't know who you are. So can you please talk about yourself?
Sure, yeah. So I've been in the glazing industry and the commercial glazing industry for I'm into my 35th year now.
Wow, that's so much.
Yeah, it's been an exciting career. It's kept me going for the past 35 years, and it's been an interesting career also. Started off with a window company doing estimating for high-rise buildings where you're confirming types and quantities of windows that are needed to be purchased and ordered from the window manufacturer, so that way the crews can install them. And different apartments or different offices have different types of windows. Sometimes you want an operable window, sometimes you just want a fixed window. So it was a learning experience trying to figure out and understand the requirements of different architects for what they're designing for a building. But overall, I've done windows, I've done skylights, I've done storefronts, I've done curtain walls, we've done panel walls, we've done door systems down below, revolving doors, automatic sliding doors, regular swing doors. So, the basically exterior facade of a building is what I'm most familiar with, how to clad or skin the facade of a building. And it's been a great career so far, and I'm enjoying it and looking for another 35 years to go.
Yeah, definitely. That sounds great. So I congrats you about it. And I want to use your experiences. So I want to ask you some questions about glazing system.
Sure.
So I'm going to asking you my first question. So why is glazing important?
So basically, the whole glazing systems are designed by an architect. And they serve two main functions. The main function of a glazing system is to protect the interior building, the occupants of the building, from the exterior elements, whether it's cold, whether it's heat, whether it's sun rays, the UV rays. It's designed specifically for the area that the building is being built. Like you'll use different types of glazing systems in the Northeast United States than you would in the Southwest United States, because they're just different requirements. So doing so, an architect will design something that's going to be aesthetically pleasing to create his overall vision for the building, as well as being a functioning system that's going to either keep the heat in the building or keep the heat and the sunlight and UV rays out of the building, depending on what you're trying to do.
Yeah, so like in an aesthetic way, it looks great. I love it.
Yeah, there's obviously several types of glass, and types of systems that the architect can use. So he will, use his vast knowledge to design and come up with something that's aesthetically pleasing. And, I'm sure we've all seen different pictures of different buildings that have different shapes. Sometimes you question, but, it's the vision that the architect's trying to put together and create and make a statement, for the area or the surrounding community that the building's being built in.
Yeah, definitely, sure. But people like me, we only love to see it from outside.
Yes.
So my second question is, which is used in glazing?
All right. So in glazing, there's multiple parts and pieces, because again, for the exterior facade of a system, the main part would be the glass. That's the part that most common people would see and understand to be the glazing system, would be the glass.
So we can say like glazing equals to glass.
For the most part, but that's glazing is a vast topic. So, but that's what most people would associate glazing with, is the glass. Although, in addition to glass, you have the window system that's inside You have louvers sometimes that will bring fresh air into the building. You'll have sometimes glass block or translucent panels or an aluminum panel system that all make up a glazing system. So think of the building as the overall facade of the building, and multiple things have to happen in that building. So in an apartment building, for example, each individual apartment will want to regulate the temperature inside their apartment individually. So in doing so, there'll be a means to bring air into a convector system or into the system, so that way the air conditioning or heating system can work individually from the apartment next door to it. So you may have louvers on buildings which will be able to allow different amounts of air into the building. The door systems down below also would be part of the overall glazing system as well, in that you need to have egress to let people into and out of the building as well. But like you were saying, the main point is that people will see would be glass. So that might be one of the bigger topics that you'd want to discuss, is breaking down the glazing system into the individual components.
But for real, we can say that there's a lot of parts that makes out the glazing system.
Correct.
It's not only the glass, but the thing is, we see the only glass.
Exactly. Yeah. Again, because there are different framing systems that accept the glass, and that's everybody, like you mentioned, everybody just sees the glass as the overall system itself, but what supports it, what makes it, the entire system that encapsulates and seals the entire building is the glazing system.
Okay, so I'll ask you one more question too. What is the ability of glaze?
So the ability of glazing is to allow these different materials to be combined into a monolithic system. So as I mentioned before about louvers and allowing air into the building, sometimes when you see a full facade of glass on the side of a building, you and I would both know there's got to be floors going up each part of the, if it's a 20-story building, there's 20 floor slabs there. Now, you and I think of glass, you look through glass, you see from inside to outside or from outside to inside the building. But now, do you actually really want to look through that glass and see an ugly concrete slab with all these wires and all these pipes there? So one of the ability of the glaze is that we can utilize different materials. One of the materials that you would use at this location would be spandrel glass or a metal panel, which would hide some of these areas. And the ability to glaze would be this monolithic system where you can take these different components that's going to give you your overall aesthetic picture of the building or facade of the building. So that way you're taking the panels that blocking out the ugly areas, the glass, which is going to allow the light and the view from inside and outside the apartment, the louvers to bring fresh air in, and then door systems at the ground floor to let people in and out of the building. So again, it's taking A, B, C, D, and E, these 5 different or 6 different parts, making it to one cohesive system that's going to, again, keep the temperature proper to the outside to the inside of the building.
So you say that the thermal protection and UV rays and the fresh air is so important.
Yeah, actually, a funny story for you. So one of the apartments that we did here in Manhattan, it was a very high-end apartment, and the glass that was specified had a LowE coating on it. The LowE coating is what assists the performance of the glass to either allow or not allow UV rays coming into the apartment. This happened to be a very wealthy individual. He had a very expensive piece of artwork that he wanted to hang on his wall.
Wow.
He actually called us to find out the characteristics of the glass to make sure the amount of UV rays that were coming through the glass would not adversely affect by either dulling out or fading this $1 million piece of artwork. So we actually had to call the manufacturer to confirm and validate all the specifications of the glass, so that way he knew if he had to add additional protection, so that way his multi-million-dollar piece of artwork was not ruined facing the south, part of the building where the sun is most prevalent.
Yeah, that sounds so complicated.
It was an interesting one. That was one of the few times I've seen something like that. But that's a big concern, because I know most people could relate to if they have a sunny part of their house and they have a carpet in their house. You can see that over time that carpet will start to fade or lighten up in that one area where the sun's always hitting it, and that's the effects of the UV rays coming through. So now by changing or going to a different type of LowE coating, you can counter those effects of the rays coming into your apartment or into your house.
Wow. Oh, I'm listening to you as I'm really so excited about it, because for me, it's like, taking a cup of coffee and just looking at the Empire State Building and go like, wow, it's so good. Yeah. The aesthetic is so good, but there are a lot together in it.
There's a lot of things which, people just don't realize, but it's all part of the overall system that comes together. Yes.
So then I'm going to ask you one more question.
Sure, of course.
What is a glazing system, Rich?
Okay, so the glazing system would be the overall system. So we talk about a piece of glass, we talk about a louver, we talk about a panel. What holds that whole system together? So there'll be different types of systems that can make this happen. And I know we'll talk about this further in future episodes, but you have a storefront system, you could have a curtain wall system, you can have a window wall system, you could have a unitized curtain wall system. Basically, the entire glazing system is going to be the support, because now, in addition to this, now some of these high-rise buildings, or what we're seeing a lot with now, is that architects are looking for the largest piece of glass available. They literally want to see from your floor to your ceiling. You don't have any mullions or aluminum or steel in your way. You just want to look out and see the beautiful view of the country or the city that you're looking at. So, but you do need to have structural support, and specifically when you're doing high-rise buildings, as you're going up higher and higher, you have different wind loads and different requirements that you have to meet. So now the glazing system itself would be an overall system that would take into account the requirements for the panels, the glass, a window, a louver, and now make it into a structural system that's functioning, that you can secure back to the building and make sure that it's going to stand there withstand hurricane winds and rains and snowstorms and blizzards. So you have to make sure that all of the components all come together to make one cohesive system that's going to protect the building inside, outside, and again, like we talked about, aesthetically pleasing, which is the main concern of the architects, to make sure it looks good at the end of the day.
Yeah, so it's like there are a lot of chains that make the glazing system.
Sure, yes, there are, yes.
Yeah, but we're going to talk about them the other episode, not right now. Great. So thank you very much. I love your experience, and I have learned a lot of things from your experience. I'm sure that people who are going to watch is going to learn a lot of things about your experience.
So. Yeah. We're here to inform.
Definitely, yes. So at the next episode, we'll meet together again, and I'll ask you a few more questions.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Have a great afternoon, Alana.
Thank you very much, Rich. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.